question is just probably because the question I asked him is, so what's the next step? Because we're so stuck because of the laws, state laws that have been put in place for us to be able to utilize it with our student data or the students utilizing it. So like, what is it, Flexer AI, like the one that'll like, help you automate like your emails and stuff. We can't use because as soon as you have a student's name and any other identifier, it's considered student record.
TAI.
Right. So there's it's, like we just bought a school because the founders, nephews and nieces all are in our school district, which is nice.
Sure.
But that's the only way we're protected is we're owning the data on that platform. So.
Outside of that, you're running into trouble. Oh, excuse me. No. Would you like this chair? I'm not going to use it. All right, that works. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Good. This is the automate session. Is everyone in the right spot? Cool. I don't have a microphone. I need to project today. This is about building agents.
So do we want our computers up or just...
No. Hang on tight.
you had your...
Yeah.
Yes,
No. No computers necessary. Your attention, I'd like your attention, but no computers are necessary to do this. And I'll just wait 20 seconds, and if everyone is ready and go, we can jump right into it. Sound good? All right. Are we recording? Are we ready? You can hear me? Sweet. Okay. All right. Hi. How's everyone today? Okay, I apologize in advance. I lied to you. You're not going to automate your own personal agent today on the fly. Is everyone disappointed? A little bit. I promise that you'll have an agent, and I promise that it'll connect to tools like your Gmail and calendar, and you can engage with it and talk to it. And is that enough to get us started? Okay. And the precursor to that, what I really want everyone to learn today is actually the building blocks of an agent. And so how they can start with an entry-level agent and then know when they can progress, how to progress their agents, and ultimately deploy it within their own business or team or wherever you're leading. Why am I qualified to do this? I don't know. My name is Michael Maynes. You don't need to take notes if you want to catch this recording later. If you want to hit me up on LinkedIn, if you have questions that you don't feel asking out in public, that's a QR code to get to me, to get to this. 20 years in sales, primarily focused on software technology and B2B services. 9 of those years as an entrepreneur. Who here, can I get a show of hands, who here is a business owner? Oh, okay, good. And if you're not, still good, because I'm gonna bring the capabilities of this, not just for a business owner or entrepreneur, but anyone looking to make a better quality of life for themselves. Sound good? Everyone still hear me? Good. 4 years advising business leaders on technology and the adoption of AI. I love the term generative AI and AI because it's very popular and I get to talk about it a lot. But it's technology. And so, you'd be surprised how often you go into a business, talk about AI, and 80% of the time it's kind of a very basic thing, a workflow, a process, connector that you're building, and you don't even need to deploy agents. So these are the credentials. Today, it will get annoying if I have to keep clicking this over here.
Hey, you want me to click for you?
No. Let's see. There we go. All right, we'll just hit buttons on the keyboard. Here's my goal. Deploy your first agent and understand what makes it special. I want us to focus, as I've hinted at numerous times, how this agent can make your life, quality of life better. All right. And if your goal is money, I promise there's a path to making more money if you learn some of the steps in here. So the first thing we're going to do to achieve these goals, we're going to go through an Agent 101 course. If you're experts, you can leave. No, I'm joking. If you're experts, stick around. The Agent 101 course, again, we're going to talk building blocks. We're going to install an agent and tools for that agent to use, and then we'll jump into some real world examples. Does that serve everybody? Great. Agent 101, what is an agent? Does anyone want to take a stab at it? Does things for you. Good. Yeah. What else?
A series of prompts that are chained together to be able to create an outcome.
Okay. Weighted decisions, I'm hearing. Okay. What else?
Connects your productivity tools.
Connects productivity tools. Those are all great answers.
AI.
What's that?
Conversational AI, potentially.
Conversational AI. We'll talk about that piece of it. Okay. Specific to your business. Oh, that's a great one. Okay. Simplest form. What is an agent? It is something, it is a system that reasons and takes action. Read that statement, save it, memorize it. Walk away paying attention to reasoning and action. These are some that come to mind very quickly. Okay? Personal assistant, lead prioritization agent, client support, project coordinator, compliance, inventory manager. The list can go on and on and on, but it reasons and it takes action. So, how does an agent reason? What's that?
I said from the information you feed it.
Information you feed it, okay.
Instructions.
Instructions, good. Algorithm, some logic. Context, great answer. What was that? Probability. Very much at the core of large language models.
Examples.
Your large language model is your brain. That's what does the reasoning. That's it. It's as simple as that. The better models can reason deeper into problems. There are models designed to reason into specific problems. Okay, but the large language model is the brain. And in order to be an agent, we need reasoning and we need action. So the body, right, its ability to interact with the world are the tools. And some of those tools were mentioned today. So I'm going to take a step towards focusing on the tools, because this is straightforward, right? You can go chat with ChatGPT. Yeah? Again, this is like super simplified. Is everyone tracking with me?
Yes.
Cool. Thank you. Tools. Whoa. Who remembers ChatGPT when it came out and you'd ask a question and it would say, knowledgeable until February 22nd, this day. Yeah, everyone remember that? Okay. So what do you think the first tool was? It was the ability to search the web, get current information. So that is actually a tool. There was a company that figured this out right when ChatGPT came out. That company is Perplexity. All Perplexity does is it takes your request, your prompt. It says, how do I reverse this into a search? It searches Google, finds the top 50 links, which are all SEO based, interestingly enough, pulls all that data, uses all that tokenization to answer your simple question. That's what Perplexity does. Absolutely worth it. All the other guys have this tool built in inherently. ChatGPT has it, Claude, but Perplexity started it. I still like the way they do it. ChatGPT, you could pay for deep research, $200 a month. Perplexity, $20. So that was one of the first tools on the market. But someone said information, data, my information, my business's information, right? Maybe an industry or vertical information. Well, that's now a tool, right? You hear this tool come up when you hear the word RAG. Who's familiar with RAG? You're familiar with RAG? Okay. What is RAG?
It's pretty much stored information pertaining specifically to your particular information. It's just, long story short, it's stored data for your own particular purpose.
Right.
That can be retrieved.
Right.
Retrieval,
Absolutely.
retrieval, augmentation, generation.
Absolutely right. Retrieval, augmentation, generation. I have a world of my data. I have written about my business. I have written about my profession. This is my doctorate in whatever that field is. And I give that, and I give it to, again, it's a 101 course, but the way it works is you would vector it or you would embed it as one option. You would give it as whole tokenization. There's lots of ways to create that. But basically, what you're able to do is say, okay, give me a new question that maybe comes from a customer, and let me use this history of information in my FAQ, my wiki, to answer that customer in a very natural language. So it captures your voice, captures your tone, but it is not giving the copy paste of page 34 on how to log in. Does that make sense? All right, so Power BI, analytics. I should have put just SQL databases, but Power BI was on my mind. Those are tools. You're giving the agent tools. Okay. Touching into the next world of maybe the 201 class, but still worth mentioning. If you hear words like LangChain or a framework, a lexicon, these are tools that help your agents understand your common language within an organization. Maybe these are tools that help your agents orchestrate and work together, right? So there are some frameworks here. This is, you're not doing this with low code, no code, chances are, okay? But they're still relevant because these are kind of the fine tuning of how you get that agent really customized for your needs, for your architecture, for how your workflow is. And then, oh wait, there we go, okay. If you walk away today learning one thing, it needs to be this next thing, okay? For a few reasons. One, it's the absolute future of generative AI. It's the future of AI, personal agents, everything. If I'm wrong about that, that's okay. But I'm putting my money on this. And two, it can be dangerous. Two, it is actually that like scary moment where AI does something. It's these things that it's going to do it through, okay? And they're called model context protocols. Who's heard of these? Okay, a year from now you will. What are model context protocols? It's the way the brain and the body communicate with one another. Make sense? Okay? All right, so what are some model context protocols? Voila, Gmail, right? Calendar, Drive. This is Airtable, for those of you that don't know, I like Airtable. Those are current and active model context protocols. So let me put this together. What do these do? What do all these things do for your agent? They allow your agent to take action. This type of action is, I would say, the most powerful, the most meaningful for your agents. And by the way, the MCPs, they're not just made by anyone can make an MCP. Okay, I can go build an MCP just for you, build an MCP for all of you. I can build this server that has information behind it, and then I can allow your agent to communicate with that information, take action on that information. However, that is the danger, okay? Because you're giving autonomy to something that isn't human that might take action on your Gmail, on your Google Calendar, on my Airtable. Make sense? Credit card. Or it might be a financial, I actually see a path where your agent should be able to connect with your credit cards in the future to understand your spending, right? Wouldn't you want your agent to track your spending for you? Okay, well, it's probably this. And if you ever, maybe you tell your agent, hey, if I ever go over 2,000 in steakhouses this month, please just shut my credit card off, okay? Or find someone, or schedule me to get someone else to pay for it or something, right? So there's a path there. I mean, I'm not saying it's tomorrow, but there's a path there, and it's going to be through things like these model context protocols. We good? We have a brain. We have actions. Do we have an agent? It's a trick question. You just say no. No, because someone mentioned earlier it needs instructions. So this is the last piece, right? You want to give this thing that has this brain and knows how to operate and knows what it can maneuver with in the future, and you want to give it instructions. And so this is my pro tip for you, and you'll see this come up again in my examples later today. But the pro tip is this. It's just like, I don't know if I actually edited that properly, but it's just keep it simple. Focus your agent to have very narrow goals right now. Remember how I talked about that reasoning? Okay, every time it has to do another layer of reasoning, every time it needs to come back and visit something, every time it takes these steps down, there is a deterioration of quality. That's all it is, simple as that. So the farther down you can get an agent with the information it needs, the specificity of what you want, how you want to see it, examples of what you want to see, all those things, better accuracy, more scalability, you can trust it. Cool? All right. What was that?
It's still generative, so it could be anything. So you have to do lots of testing, right?
There are systems for testing. In any good deployment of an agent, you're going to want to have some type of test bed that it runs. It's probably not for this particular course, but yeah, my clients, what we actually have is we have agents who are just quality control, and they actually measure the original model's performance based off of like an answer test. And so it's basically just a teacher. It's just like every night we'll have agents run through, okay? And then we will analyze the responses. And if there's something off in those responses, we then identify where in the database, where in the information, where in the tools, where it deviated. But that is all about this, 100%. So, congrats, we have an agent. All right, we're a third of the way through, so let's see. I'm not doing too bad. That's perfect, 15 minutes. All right, so creating an agent. You don't need your computers because it's so simple and there's so many videos, and I will give you these instructions. I put the instructions on the board, but I'm going to talk about Claude for a second. Who here uses Claude? Okay, so 10% maybe, 15%. Who here uses ChatGPT? Okay, who here uses nothing? It's okay too. All right. I want to make enough money where I never need to use any technology. That's the true holy grail, isn't it? Yeah. All right. So I'm going to fly through these instructions. And I'm going to talk I'm going to pivot then between the differences I see between Claude and ChatGPT, because I think that might be more useful, and this kind of stuff you can do on your own. Okay, but these are just the simple instructions. You're going to download Claude, ChatGPT equivalent for your desktop. Okay. You're going to upgrade Claude. So this is the biggest difference. You're going to upgrade Claude to the Pro plan, which is their $20 plan. For these types of MCP connections that I'm talking about, ChatGPT, OpenAI requires their $200 plan. So I actually do use ChatGPT still. I have both. I use them interchangeably. I use all agents for different purposes. As you use them more, you'll start to realize where certain ones have strength, where certain ones are weak. So I do use both. The reason I pay the extra for ChatGPT is because, and I'll show you an example later, I like to just talk to my agent. I don't like to have to sit at a computer. So that's the big takeaway. Claude, you have to speak and then push stop, and then it pushes your audio to Claude to process it. And Claude does talk back to you, but ChatGPT is just a natural language. You pause, it starts processing, so on and so forth. It's I think Whisper is what they're calling it. ChatGPT is. So it's flawless. It's amazing. And so if you're at a desk a lot, Claude is $20, like it's the way to go. So that's why I have Claude up here on the screen. So this is getting Claude on your device, And then this would be how to get connections. So again, they have a library of connections. They have library connections, Google, Gmail, Calendar, those, I trust them. Airtable, I know some developers at Airtable, so I trust that even though they haven't really finished, as you can tell with their icon and logo and stuff. I found, and this is where I do get concerned, I found a connector on Claude that said, hey, I can connect to your Windows device and I can control your Windows device. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I put it on a device that I don't use and has no personal information to see what happened. It really struggled. But that was that kind of like big warning sign. I don't know who made that MCP. Okay? And maybe at the time that they published that MCP and I connected to it, it was fine. There was no, it was golden, right? But between me going to bed and waking up, there could have been someone malicious that uploaded things to that MCP server and caused a lot of damage for me or my property. So when we talk about the body and muscles and tools, right? This is your muscle to search through Drive. This is your muscle to search through your email, right? This is my muscle to search through my Airtable databases. Someone made a muscle to control my laptop through my spoken word. Now there's great applications. There's great reason to have that power. So be careful with those MCPs. Just stick to whatever the ChatGPT and Claude approve, okay? It didn't work either, and that was the other scary part of it. So it didn't actually, it just kind of kept crashing. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but this is something that you should be a little bit more comfortable with if you're giving your agents access to information. And that's just tokens, right? API tokens. It's effectively you're generating a key. So when you show up with your credentials, you say, hey, I am Michael's agent. Okay, and I'm here on behalf of Michael, and I'd like to see the database with his expenses, and then that server is going to say, okay, show me your token, and then this is that token, right? That token is generated by Airtable. I hold on to it, and I give it to Airtable every time I go to Airtable to get that personal information. That's why I showed it up here, and if you have Airtable and you connect it, super fun, super cool.
Can you explain what Airtable is?
It's a SQL database for low-code, no-code people who are not.
It's a database on steroids.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say it's like an Excel spreadsheet that can.
Yeah, and I like Airtable, and we'll talk about low-code stuff here in a second. I like Airtable because I can see the data, I can manipulate the data. It actually allows a lot of power to change and articulate how you want your data stored and how you want to transfer it. It has automation built into it, and so it's really slick for a lot of reasons. But if you're comfortable coding, a coder would probably have the same database. They would just put it in a SQL database and host it somewhere. So it's a very user-friendly, business owner-friendly tool.
Did Google hosted that?
I don't know. Go ahead. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I don't think it's a Google product. We'll have to check on that. Don't believe it is, at least. So this is. Let's go back to this, what I want from an agent. Okay. This is a very brief conversation I asked. Nothing too personal in here, thankfully. But I just want to know, hey, what were my average expenses in 2025? January 2025 from the business, remove that kind of the outliers, and then it told me, hey, here are your expenses. So this is all connected to my Airtable, which is like I don't do QuickBooks, I do Airtable. I have a custom version of it that's very similar to QuickBooks, and I have an agent that connects to my sales, my expenses, everything is connected within this. This is usually me in the morning. So when I talk about, hey, improving my quality of life, Claude or ChatGPT or whoever, I go on a walk every morning. Sometimes I ruck, and I just ask Claude or ChatGPT, what's in my inbox right now? What's important? Did this person email me? Did this person message me? And let's craft a reply. I never send a reply. Actually, don't believe you can send a reply through it just yet. I'm sure that's not going to be far along, but I do draft email responses. So I'll go on an hour-long walk, and by the time I get back to my desk, like 7, 8 emails, they're in there and ready to go. It being connected to Drive. The other day I had a friend who called me and said, hey, can you help me with something? It's called ICP, Ideal Customer Profile. He was like, look at my ideal customer profile, right? Look at my market. And so he sent me that file. So that file is shared with me. I asked Claude to go pull that file up. Hadn't read it yet. I hadn't sat at a computer to read this file. And Claude summarized the file for me. And I was like, cool, let's talk about this. I need to understand this about this market. Teach me about this market. And I just had a conversation to better understand that market as I'm going on a walk. And I said, awesome, this is my opinion. This is what I think we should reply back with. That draft was ready in my inbox. And that took me about 10, 15 minutes. If I sat at a computer, that would have probably been easily hour-long task, just because I operate a little better when I'm walking. It's called diffuse thinking. If you like to work while you're driving or walking or doing something, it's diffuse thinkers. Very creative space to be in, by the way. Agents. Like that's what I'm talking about. You can make a lot of money understanding how to do these things, or you can create a better quality of life for yourself understanding how to do these things. Cool. Questions so far? Helpful? Yeah?
Connectors are just the things, the tools we use
Yeah.
to connect, like for us, because you have a lot of Google stuff, but I don't have Google stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Um,
And then accessing to something that is like, I have multi-factor authentication to get to that data. Can you make it do that? Or does it, it's code, then you have to do fingerprints, like there's a lot of different.
It gets more complicated, but yes, I have client where we just deployed everything through in their Azure instance. And so it's using their Microsoft 365 authentication for all their employees, which is a 2-factor authentication. It accepts a key. So, I mean, all that's kind of just infrastructure. If you're not using Gmail and you're using other tools, there might be options. There are definitely options, I should say. There are options. You probably need to work with someone who can consult on these things or advise on these things, because I don't believe they're just available. Microsoft's a little slower to getting that adoption, like that MCP stuff. Google will just go down that path, and if it doesn't work, they scrap it. Microsoft might do the same thing, but they're not going to deploy it until they know they're going to kind of stick it out in the long run. Yes?
Just a quick question so I understand. So Claude, for $20 a month, you can set that up to check your inbox and do all those things. ChatGPT, that same type of thing would be the $200.
Correct.
So everything.
And
you just said,
I imagine all this can change like that, by the way, but currently that's how they
set
are.
up this agent like that and have it be able to look at all of your inbox or anything set up. It's just going through Claude and then registering for that $20 a month as of today.
The pro plan,
Okay.
yes.
And then creating the agent.
Yes.
Just for that. Okay. Perfect.
I don't have a link. I wish all of you would switch to Claude and I can get like $2, referral link.
So, the one thing you did say was like the big difference is you can do natural conversation if you're doing
ChatGPT, yeah.
versus
Yeah.
the other one you're having to
Yeah.
physically interact.
Yeah,
Chat can't read your emails.
it can, but at the 200, yeah. Yeah.
Then I will afford to read my own emails.
Yeah. Well, I'm correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that idea of walking. I can
Yeah.
press the button for $20 a month.
Yeah, yeah. Before these tools were available, and since I have time, I'm just going to bore everyone with stories then. Before these tools were available, I actually pieced together my own tools to create versions of this that I wanted. So in 2022, by 2023, what I actually had was I would record, I just record on my audio device on my phone, and then I had a web page that I would just push that. It's called an MP4. It's just an audio file. It's like an MP3. I'd push that MP4 it would go get transcribed using one AI tool. It would get transferred to ChatGPT with with another protocol, and then it would be waiting for me to have a chat with it based on my transcription. So like, people are just closing those gaps with some of these tools. Yes.
So are you using like Zapier or something like that to do the connection to ChatGPT?
I have a full-time development team, so like I have some tools that, but you actually can use Zapier. I should have put Zapier up here, but this is the same, right? Make.com, N8N, Zapier. Those are tools that are going to allow you to connect that data. He asked if I'm using Zapier to send information and transfer it. I don't specifically because I have other tools, but Zapier is a great tool for that. If you're not familiar with it, it just allows you to transfer your data kind of from any of your domains of what you own. Yes?
You said you have a full-time development team. What do they do above and beyond these low-code solutions?
So I have a software company as well. I have a number of clients, and then so I go in, I advise boards, and then I'll deploy technology. So just servicing those technology, building stuff like this, building pet projects for our own team. I'll show you an example in here in a little bit. I have an agent that watches we have a company chat through Telegram. It's WhatsApp, but it's Eastern European, if you're familiar with Telegram. And there's an agent who sits in this chat with us and just watches our conversations. And then when we need something, we say, hey, can you go retrieve this? And that agent goes out. And so like they'll build things like that for us. Love the ability to like talk to agents. We're playing with a lot of those tools right now. So instead of transferring through written or transferring an audio file, just live agent communication. We have a few of those that are launching soon. So yeah. 15 minutes. Perfect. Low code, no code solutions. The two of the three examples, 4 examples that I have coming up, I built them with just these. Some of them, one of them in particular, I built in one weekend, and it's saving someone over $100,000 a year. And it cost $100 a month to run. Like that's the type of power we're talking about now that you have without having to be an engineer, without having to be a developer. And if you are partially an engineer or partially a developer and you're feeling somewhat comfortable with code or you did it one time, Claude has a particular agent called Claude Code. And this thing, it just is revolutionizing everything. Claude Code, this is maybe a more technical example, but worth hearing. Claude Code is like these agents I've been talking about, but it connects to your GitHub. And so you can, if you're running a software company and you wanted to make a change to your GitHub repository, to that software, Claude Code can actually make changes to your GitHub, which change the code base of software companies. So, insane. Yes, any questions? Good? No questions? Great. I'll run through these tools really quick. Again, your Claude and your ChatGPT, those are your large language models, right? Those are the brains. You have some ability to connect them. I like Make. So there's a lot of things that you just can't do with only certain connections through Claude, right? I want to be able to have more flexibility for my agents to go and take action in the world. And so those 4 tools I showed earlier, they're just not going to cut it, or wherever they were, right? They're not going to cut it. So I have other tools like N8N and Make.com, which are workflow tools. That's all they are, workflow automation. That's the way to think about it. So me, a simpleton, not wanting to go get a developer to figure out how to create an agent or create a task, I'm putting together these tools. I'm using an Airtable, and you'll see, I'll actually show you a few workflows, and we can talk about it in a second. I'm using an Airtable to, let's say, gather leads that come into my website, right? And someone fills out a form. I can fill out forms. I have a form fill, UI cool thing that can make landing pages and form fills in seconds. So that's my fill out form. Someone fills that out. It updates my Airtable. My Airtable has an automation. New lead in just came in, and I can run any series of actions, and I run them through Make. So Airtable sends that data to Make or N8N. Okay, these are the automation tools, and then these tools will interact with your agents, with like a Claude or a ChatGPT. They make decisions, pass the information back to Airtable. Airtable does an automation that I have it designed to do, and voila. That's no code, no code at all. All you have to do is connect all these tools together. Yes?
Just questions on like not HIPAA, but just private information. So if our Airtable has all of our clients' information and this is accessing it, is that violating their privacy, or like it's because you pay for it they can't access it? That's what I'm curious. If you have your information all over, if you're connecting these things, can they go find out my customer's social security number?
The brain's history and its memory is governed by the company that owns it. ChatGPT states that if you use their API, it does not store that information and therefore should not break particular privacy concerns. Those privacy laws and compliance laws, they might just say you're not allowed to do that. So even if nothing happens with that data, you're just not allowed to restrict it within these walls. So I mean, that's a really difficult question to navigate. But these different players have different standards for how they use your data and where they're going to send your data and the type of training that they might take from your data. Your best bet if you want like the minimum amount of things, like the highest amount of security right now, your first bet is making your own large language, hosting your own large language model. You don't need to make it, but you need to host it on a private server, and then you get to pay, server fees and graphic processing fees, and you could pay a ton of money to process your own data in your infrastructure, be compliant. I would say the second best is ChatGPT deployed through Azure. So if you are on Microsoft, the benefit is you have this Azure environment, and they already have those frameworks to go call those agents. Make sense? Yes, question. 5 minutes. Copy that.
I can ask you a question if you want.
No, that's good.
I have a question.
Yes.
In regards to her, couldn't she use some type of mask, mask is the HIPAA violation part, like everybody had customer number. That way only she knows the HIPAA.
Yeah. MD5 hash is let's just call that one, right? There's other ones, there's more advanced ones. MD5 hash is the most common. The problem is the recipient has to have the key. And so you would still need to transfer the key somehow. And if you're not creating a memory of that conversation, where do you transfer the key to connect the key to unhash that? Make sense? Happy to talk. For those that are technical, don't come to me because I'm not, no, I'm joking. For those that are technical, I could probably get us to like the 201, 301, and then I would probably, I have a team that can help us work through certain problems and questions. Again, I'll show you that QR code in a second. My timer was wrong, so I have 4 minutes, and I will continue to examples. Does everyone get what I'm saying here? Okay? No code tools that allow you to do a lot more things than just talk to your emails. Simple as that. Okay? Moving on. Examples. Okay. One of my clients is a influencer marketing agency. They have 100 plus creators, and they manage the inboxes of these content creators. That's what they're paid to do. They're paid to negotiate the terms of agreements that come across the table. And the problem is 95% of those emails that come in, it's fans wanting pictures, it is people who are asking for unpaid collaborations, it's spam, it's junk, it's people literally off like trying to just spam and hack and send you a hyperlink that you click on. Like that's the job, okay? And so what we built, and it literally is these three, you see these three little nodes that I built. It's called a scenario in make.com. Read the email, send the email to this agent. Agent passes back to me a response, and then I email that response. And so what we're doing is we're lead scoring. So we have a long list of instructions, and so when we get an email, it goes to an agent first. It's either a 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay, you want a 4, 3 or 4 is what you want your content. This is confusing because the agents that they're supporting are real people. Okay, so your real person agent needs to be focused on the 3s and the 4s. And so when they get in the morning, one of these real people agents has to manage 10 to 12 content creators. Well, every morning they have 1,000 emails to get through. How fun is that? 95% of those is garbage. And so that's what this agent does. That's all it does. Super narrow. Just tell me which of these emails are worth putting my time into. Make sense? Yes.
On that example, I'm looking at Make. I've never heard of it, but it does repetitious things like he was talking about. How many would it take to manage something like that? So they have.
This is only 3 run. This is 3.
No, like it says you get 10,000 credits a month. So
yeah.
How many credits should somebody predict to need to manage something like that?
This is 3 credits. I run until I hit my ceiling, and then I expand it to hit more. There's formulas you can figure out. Okay. The design of this. We're talking about less until you're getting into the tens of thousands of operations. You don't need to worry about like the architecture of how complex it is. Like there's definitely ways from an engineering standpoint to simplify some of these tools. But good question. Let's connect later, and if you carry that forward. Okay, this is a really fun one. This is a research agent. I have 2 minutes, so I'll move quickly. This research agent, a client of mine, software company, $100 million plus, sales enterprise salespeople. Okay, these are the big hitters. You pay them a lot of money to be out there. And this team was spending 6 hours a week just doing research on the context that they should be reaching out to. One research process for one client could take 3 to 4 hours. And so here's a process. All they do is they just send a domain. I actually have it hooked up where as soon as they have a meeting, I run this for them. But they have a new meeting on their calendar. 60 seconds later, they have a 10-page report on that account. Everything from, and you see I'm running perplexity, and then Google here. I mentioned using different ones for different purposes, right? It was so massive, the report, and there was so much research involved, I had to break it up into these 3 to do that. Remember, I told you Perplexity runs 50 searches on every query, and so there's 150, 200 queries going on for this. And then this is kind of this report. This is the start of that report and what it looks like. But now it costs like $55 a month to run this for them, and they were paying thousands, tens of thousands. I made this in a weekend. This isn't custom. I didn't need an engineer for this. A guy with YouTube did this. Seriously. Guy with YouTube. And Gemini, I'll finish with this. There's some really cool ones. These are the do-it-yourselfers, okay? These are a little bit more complex. I mentioned that agent. This is an output of that agent that sits in our Telegram channel, okay? This is, the project is complete. I don't have approval to show too much of it, but what I'm doing is connecting to Power BI. We have an Azure infrastructure. This is like a 2-year deployment for something like this. That systems of Q&A every day and all that kind of stuff, like that happens here. And this agent is just phenomenal because in this company, you can make changes that morning that yield tens of thousands in sales by the end of the day. And so think about the number of stores and the number of people they have to coordinate at these stores. I think the average store they're running has about 50 people running. These are large stores. Have about 50 people, and each department has its own, cost and operating expense and sales that they have to hit. And so these agents just kind of monitor live data coming through Power BI to then send out like, hey, just pay attention to this in the morning, pay attention to that. Incredible. This is exciting because we're pushing kind of where that engineering of AI tools exists today, and we're just hitting this like unknown of like, how do you solve this problem kind of stuff, and it's just really fun. So that's it. My name's Michael. If you need me, I like talking business. So if you don't even care about agents, you just want to chat business, LinkedIn. Thank you. It was a pleasure. I hope this is helpful.